from the Hofbrau house. Who knows? Photographers ready, crowd are ready, we're ready. And Boulder 1 awaits Alexei Rubtsov. As I say, 4 years since his win here in Munich. It's now 10 years since he won his World Championship.
Wow, to stay at the top of your game for that long is really impressive. There's quite a few climbers out here in the finals, actually, especially in the men's competition, who've got a lot of history and a lot of big wins behind their belts. But it's not a final where there's sort of a side Anjay, but he's always become old hat because he's got such a stable head on him. So it's finalists who really know what they're doing out there, and there's no sort of underdog who's coming through as a big surprise.
Now we're ready. They ask for more volume and they get it. Alexei Rubtsov is waiting. I can look down the stage and just see him. There he is, ready to go. He won't need any encouragement to pull hard. Great to see Alexei with his smile on his face. He's very much a man who wears his game face most of the time. Doesn't engage that much with the crowd generally, but if you don't enjoy this, you need to find something else to do. Alexei Rubtsov makes his way out onto the stage, first climber in this Munich final 2019. 4 minutes begins and he's underway, and the first thing he wants to do is give the boulder a brush.
Well, I think that's part of his routine, you know, Charlie. I think to get an intro like that on every single moment you come out, it must be really hard to dial down that excitement. You know, there's 5,000 people screaming your name. I think what he's done there is just grab the brush, just go into his routine, just focus on his job that he's got to do here, and he's going to start this big fight up this section of black volumes. You can see the little jib down there on the left that he's not even bothered using. He's just straight into the compression and the fierce body positions.
The dual texture these holes doesn't really show up on the camera, but basically the face that is facing the crowd, the outwards face, on all the volumes is more or less useless. So you've got to use, from this angle, what look like the hidden sides of it. The sides that Alexei's brushing in there, but the side that is facing the crowd is very little friction. It's all but useless.
Yeah, the hand positions that you have to use on these volumes, it's sort of like a hand squeeze. In climbing we call it a wrap or a guppy. You just wrap your kind of the inside of your hand, just squeeze the side of the volumes as hard as you physically can in your palms like that. And the thing about this climb is that there's a lot of that all the way up the boulder, so it's a big fight on a very similar hand position all the way up, so it's going to be massively tiring.
He's done well there, Alexei. Found a little knee bar, and this is a position you've got to get yourself in. But if you get your weight directly over your feet, you will instantly be spat off the boulder. You've always got to be pulling off to one side in order to make the feet useful. Crowd really beginning to clap in time with the music now as Alexei Rubtsov levers his way up. Only 2 more holds to go after this one. Could we see an early top from Alexei? Slaps out with his left hand, got that really powerful Gaston. Got to somehow free up his left hand. Now he goes, and he slaps the top hole, but he can't hang on to it. Massive fight from Alexei Rubtsov, and would you expect anything else?
Yeah, perfect start to the competition. A huge fight all the way up. I think that's going to take a lot of gas out of Alexei there. To be honest, that attempt almost summed up his season a little bit. Just a big fight all the way to the end to inevitably have a heartbreak hotel off of the top floor. Really big fight, and the sun is just creeping round on Alexei there. It's quite hot here in Munich still. Clouds are definitely building. Potential for a thunderstorm here later on. We will see, but a big fight for Alexei, so you wouldn't be surprised if he just runs down the clock a bit more, pulls on maybe 50 seconds, 40 seconds, something like that, and just have one big fight.
Yeah, he's just had a series of quite unlucky results. He was 7th in Meiringen, 1 place outside the finals. Then in his home World Cup in Moscow, where obviously he was desperate to succeed, ended up 11th. Made the final in Chongqing, but 5th there, and then 10th again in Wujiang. So a worse result of 11th, and yet only his 2nd final. It's just been a slightly unlucky. It's just been micro details. And this isn't something we normally see from Alexei Rubtsov, but he's enjoying being in front of this massive Munich crowd. Off he goes with 52 seconds to go.
Yeah, that's why he pulled on with 50 seconds left rather than 30 that we would normally expect. It's so easy to slip off these dual texture volumes. Brutal first position. Just sliding down there. This is going to be really interesting. I think this boulder could either be cruised or you could just slide off it for your 4 minutes.
And to be honest, I think it's so tiring that if you don't get it on the really good go, which Alexei had when he got really close. If you don't get it on that go when you get high, you're probably not going to have enough juice left to have another really good go.
Yeah, to fall off the finish hold like that, it must be a really heartbreak. The way he went for that top hold, actually went for the sort of the double clutch, jumped left and then compressed with the right hand. You've got to make those decisions on the fly. This boulder is, I would say, nearly impossible to try and route read from the ground. They had their 2 minutes observation, but it's not going to tell you too much really, because it's such a funky boulder. Yeah, let's see how Andrzej goes. He's traditionally, not to set him up for a failure here, but he's traditionally very, very good on volumes.
Yeah, Andrzej Perhak, I know a lot of people enjoyed hearing him when he was alongside me in the commentary box in Wujiang. He's where he'd rather be. I can take that. He's in the final, not talking about it. Here he goes now. Instantly a different method from Andrzej. Got himself pretty horizontal, and as I say, you've got to keep your feet out to the side. If you get directly above your feet, they're going to be all but useless, because you'll just instantly slip straight down. You can see he's having to push that one out left. Walks his feet over to the left now. This looks really good from Andrzej, but as we said earlier, if you drop a high attempt like that, it will have taken so much out of you. The energy conservation is going to be key.
Yeah, the way he did the first move, actually, it really helped him sort of get efficiently through that bottom section. And you mentioned it, Charlie, different technique used at the start there. Went for the left heel rather than the right heel. It meant he could roll over with his left hand to the bottom of that next section of body. So he was laying off it rather than trying to wrap it. And most climbers would definitely prefer that as a technique. The thing about wrapping on these volumes is a lot of time a wrap is really crucial. You have good friction in your palm, but obviously the dual texture where you need the palm, so there's so much force going through the skin on the fingers. Nice brutal start to the competition.
Yeah. Andrzej shaking out. As we said, awful lot of moves, and you're on this boulder for a long time, and once the forearms start to pump, it's going to come very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's also crucial the tension between your feet and your upper body. The handhold is so bad, you're squeezing between them. If you've not got your feet on in the right position, you're really going to lose the tension through the hands.
We've got such a powerful men's final. If you look who's still to come, Jakob Schubert, Jan Hoyer, Jongwon Chon and Adam Onda, none of whom you think would be lacking in the horsepower department. Could see some great battles on this one. We already saw a really good fight from Alexei Rubtsov and a good one from Andrzej Perhak as well. He needs to regain and hopefully surpass that high point. He's got 1 minute 45 left to do it. I think he liked his previous method. He's going for a pretty similar one this time until now. So he'd already had the feet up at this stage on the last attempt. He's right above his feet. You can see suddenly how much that puts the strain through his arms. He could do with getting his feet out wide. This was the volume we saw Alexei get to and then just pass.
Well, I have to say, this boulder is just desperate to watch. He's just willing his feet just to find a bit of a better position, just slowly sliding down the corners of those volumes. You see he's diving into the liquid chalk as much as possible. It is hot on the mats right there.
Yeah, temperature hasn't really begun to drop here in Munich. It was very hot for the semi-finals, and same again. I have to say, not as hot as it is when we're here in August, but it's still a warm day and there's a lot of humidity under this glass roof.
Yeah, interestingly, you usually see climbers rubbing the liquid chalk kind of over the palms and definitely across the fingers. The majority of that liquid chalk seems to be going into the palms, which tells you kind of what he's up against here.
So 40 seconds to go. If he gets high on the boulder, whether he tops it or not, it'll almost certainly be his last meaningful attempt. You can see just how hard that first move is. His head firing backwards as he goes. Now he seems to have his method pretty sorted here, Andrzej. Creeping his way left. Again, just needs to do something with that left leg. Gets a hand swap all right. And looked up to slap again, but like the last time, just couldn't find a way of getting his feet to work for him. He heads back inside. He gave that one everything.
I think interestingly, if you were to combine, or to compare, I should say, the speed that he climbed the last boulder compared to his previous attempt, I think what he realises is it's such a lack of kind of decent contact with the skin, sweating through the boulder. He absolutely just speed climbed as fast as he possibly could on that last attempt. He had loads of time. He didn't need to go that fast. It's just a classic case, I've got to get to the top before I lose all my chalk.
Here's Jakob Schubert, Innsbruck's finest. has made the short trip up to Munich. I was chatting to his sister Hannah Schubert, she's in the crowd today. She was saying how much he enjoys climbing in Munich. And the crowd get right behind him. Picked up a medal, a bronze one, 2 weeks ago in Wujiang, on good bouldering form after a slightly shaky, by his standards, start to the season. And he loves a battle with a boulder. He's been very vocal about wanting harder boulders, particularly in the qualifying rounds, Jakob. He definitely got them here in Munich, and he's looking pretty handy here on men's one. Up to the zone, no problem, stabs the left foot out. 3 more volumes to go. What can he do with the feet? Having to work so hard just to stay in that position, Jakob Schubert. He's got 3 minutes 10 left.
You can see every time they fall off the wall, he's just looking at his palms, shaking off the palms. So much force going through them, but the sweat is clearly an issue on these holds up there. Don't want to keep banging on about how warm it is in that position, but it's clearly having an effect. I think it's going to be one of those boulders you've got to have your first go, best go. Otherwise you're going to start leaking out of those palms.
Well, bear in mind that they did 5 qualifying boulders and 4 semi-final boulders. So this is boulder number 10 of 13 that the climbers will be doing in less than 36 hours. Fatigue an issue as well. Black volumes on a warm wall.
I'm wondering if Ondra is going to come out with one of his special tactics, a bit of a fan or an ice pack or something. Some trick up his sleeve.
Well, I saw him at the top of the wall earlier on mounting an air conditioning unit. The remote controlled one, so only he's got the remote. No, I don't know. Hopefully, he often surprises Adam. Comes out with all sorts of tricks. But as you say, I think really perhaps the best trick of all on this boulder would be to get it done first go. It's of course easier said than done, but we haven't seen anybody who's had one really good go and then got higher the next time. They've had one go that's looked like the one, and then the next ones haven't been as good. Can Jakob make progress? Got the feet out to the left. That's that foot swap that cost him.
What's really interesting about this boulder is normally when you climb a boulder and you fall off, you can remember what you've done and say, okay, sit back down 30 seconds. What did I do wrong? What can I change? What can I do different? You got there, you have no idea, I think, really what's happened. You know roughly how you've got through the first 2 volumes here, clearly lay back, but then your feet are all over the place, and you can see Jakob when he gets there, he just doesn't quite know what to do with his feet that was different to last time, because it's probably quite hard to remember what he did with his feet on the previous go.
1 minute 10 left for him to find something. He's the 3rd climber out in this men's final. The lead world champion from 2018 in his home city of Innsbruck. The combined world champion in that same Innsbruck championships. Here he goes in Munich. So he seems to have a method he likes up to this point. He's really beginning to cruise these moves, but this is proving to be the crux. He's tried, that was the foot swap he was struggling with last time. So much force going through his biceps, but he's got himself in a pretty good position, and the crowd reacts to Jakob Schubert. Got his feet in place now, but it's such an insecure position. He's somehow got to get himself solid enough that he can launch out to the left. And you can see on this boulder just micro movements are making all the difference. And when Jakob Schubert looks that tired, I think there might be a bit of frustration mixed in with it. You know it's been a hard fight.
That was a great shot, just seeing him walk off. He's breathing so hard, he went through a massive fight there. To be honest, I thought that was it for Jakob. He did learn what he needed to do with his feet. He had a mad foot sequence halfway through that boulder. Let's see what this next man can do. The crowd will definitely give it everything they've got to get him to the top.
Yeah, 2017 he won here in Munich. Absolutely fabulous final under the lights. He'll finish off today's final, I would imagine, in the dusk, but as it is, he's pretty much in the full sunshine. Jan Hoyer underway. Bit of a false start on the first attempt. If anybody can find a way to the top of this boulder, they'll put themselves in an incredibly strong position, because Alexei Rubtsov, Angie Perhak and Jakob Schubert were not able to do it.
Well, also, they would have been awarded the zone, but they put in a hell of a lot of effort for no top, and that's crucial as well.
Jan really struggling with the start here, actually. That's two really false starts.
He seems to be quite happy with the heel hook. He's a fair bit larger than Jakob and Anjay. Can't seem to decide which method to go for. So he looks really bunched. His lower body is actually sagging really low at the moment. Need a lot of tension to be able to hold these individual positions. So sort of sagging in the lower body. See when he pulls on red shorts downwards, it looks quite low at the moment. Come up with a different method, that's better. Manages to maintain that tension by standing on the lower footholds and gets a knee bar through the bottom section.
Yeah, one of the big advantages of being so tall, you can see his left leg is pushing on his toes. Doesn't look the most comfortable knee bar, but it certainly seemed to work for him. He kind of rotated over it.
Yeah, it's really interesting, just going back to that first position, how he was so bunched up into the start position. Actually made much more sense to just forget about the heel hook and just stand on the lower footholds. And then that knee bar, I think he would definitely be straight back into that. It could work very well for him. I'd be very surprised if Ondra doesn't find that knee bar as well.
Jan got the crowd behind him. You can hear them clapping. 1 minute 50 now for him. IFSC chief route setter Chris Danielson walks past us. Probably barely watch. It must be so stressful for the route setters. They've been thinking about this all week. And it's great to set good qualifiers and it's great to set good semi-finals, but really people remember the final. Spare a thought for the poor route setters watching this, and spare a thought for poor Jan Hoyer trying to climb it. He's gone for that knee bar with the left again. Again, rotates over it, but he just can't find a way to then keep his weight over to the right or to the left, but he's getting right over the top of that knee bar and it's just popping out.
Yeah, I think he's got to be really careful. If he starts bleeding out of that knee, the judge would be straight onto his case and ask him to tape it up, and with only 1 minute left, he hasn't really got time for that. I can see he's just chucked a load of chalk straight into it, stop it bleeding.
Really struggling again with that move, Jan. I chatted to him after the semi-final. He said he's got a reasonable amount of skin left. He's not too worried about his skin, but didn't like the look of that boulder at all. I think just saying something to the judges about perhaps the fact he'll tape his knee up and heads in with about 40 seconds left.
Yeah, I think he probably wouldn't have been allowed to have another go there anyway. I think that's kind of partly why, with that much time left, he did walk away. He knew he wouldn't have time to cover that up, unfortunately. We'll try and catch a glimpse of him behind the wall, see what's going on there.
Jongwon Chon will be next out. There he is, getting himself ready. The last man actually to win back-to-back World Cups in 2017. We've had different winner after different winner since then, and he looks in the mood. He knows how to perform at this level. Two-time overall Boulder World Cup winner. A legend of the sport and absolutely known for his power and his crimp strength, and I think that could come in handy a bit later on. Be interested to see how he gets on with this boulder. He's certainly got the power to do it, but it's just figuring out a method that works for you. Creeps the hands up now, Jongwon Chon, looking relatively comfortable, as comfortable as one could ever be on this boulder. Secures the zone. I think that was quite clever from him. He used the zone and then popped back down to have a think about it, but it means the judges will have to award him the zone. Now they'll award it anyway, but clever of him to think of that midway through, and the crowd react to the fact that he's got himself stable now. Jongwon Chon could really do with getting his feet somewhere a bit better than that, because otherwise as he slaps up he'll pop straight down. This looks better, crosses through with the right hand. Big cheer from the crowd now. He's still got 3 minutes to go if this one didn't work out. And it doesn't, but you can see him come down breathing heavily.
Yeah, aside the obvious hand strength that you need on this, really it's all about the feet. Trying to find the foot position that works just to give you the maximum stability to move the hands. Just as he was creeping his feet along the edges of those dual textured volumes, everyone just sort of wincing and holding their breath slightly to see if he's going to just peel off and no doubt do some damage to his shins on the way down. Just managed to find that left foot stab out. Looked like he needed to find something to the right foot as well, get the legs as wide as possible before moving the hands. In the end, that rollover method he did was absolutely brutal.
I imagine he'll take a reasonably long break here, Jungwon Chon. He came down, looked like he just run a marathon. Well, certainly a 400 metres. He was up there best part of a minute.
Well, interesting you talk about how tired you are after climbing this boulder. Jakob Schubert walked past us just a minute or so ago. He's popped through the toilet and he still looks absolutely gassed. Really breathing hard, looking totally in bits already.
.145 for Jungwon Chon. He's had over a minute actually back down on the mats now. Still he waits. He clearly has a time in mind where he wants to go. He's been looking at the clock a lot. Now he goes. First move causing problems again.
Yeah, as we said before, Charlie, it still seems to be that first go, best go scenario on this boulder. It adds into the formula that it's so complicated, especially with the feet. To have your first go as your best go requires a big slice of luck, really, or some amazing route reading.
Now he pulls back on. Less than 1 minute to go for Jungwon Chon. What a position a top would put him in. He's really struggling again with that first move.
Yeah, he's just trying to go straight off the screw-on jib with no heel hooks at all. We saw from Anjay and from Jakob. Opted for the heels. We saw Jan Hoyer, no success for him, but did have a different technique off the lower volumes. Chon seeing that there's a fourth method. Really running out of time here. We better get his skates on a little bit.
Yeah, I have to say, with 25 seconds to go, I don't think he's got time to do the boulder unless he does something really quick, but it's such an intricate series of moves.
Yeah, unless he feels like he hasn't secured the zone properly.
No, he's definitely got the zone, but he's not going to get the top heading in. Jungwon Chon, so everybody, including and especially the route setters, will be nervously watching to see if we can find a top on this boulder. We've only got one climber left who could do it, but it's Adam Ondra.
Interesting to see if Adam Ondra's had a look at Jan Hoyer's knees as he's come through. He's come out with 2 pairs of shoes. No air conditioning unit this time, but second pair of shoes.
So Adam gets underway, 10 seconds already elapsed, but he's just taking his time, having a look at the boulder, double checking what he can remember from observation, although from what we've seen, observation hasn't been that useful for anyone. This boulder just climbs so strangely. But Adam Ondra really is a master of movement. He may just be able to find a way to do this. He's also a master of finding knee bars. Might just be able to find a way to do it that nobody else could think of or nobody else would be able to do. Got himself pretty much horizontal here, Adam. Again, the Munich crowd cheer. This is him in a pretty good position, all things considered. The left hand's there. A lot of encouragement coming from the crowd. Adam Ondra, widely considered to be the greatest rock climber on earth. Can he prove it here on boulder 1? Goes with the right hand and goes with the left. Adam Ondra says, let's hear you. Perfect start to the final.
Dream start for Adam Ondra and for the resetters here in Munich. 3 climbers had a really good battle at the top. Adam Ondra just showed why he's so good. The way that he climbed that boulder, it was like he'd been up there 3 or 4 times before, patting his hands on his trousers, keeping chalk on his hands, knee bar where it was perfect, the feet smearing, heels down. It was absolute perfection in climbing there from Adam Ondra. Look how much contact he's got going through the shoes. Didn't panic on the top move as well. Absolute lesson in how to smash a hard boulder from Adam Ondra.
Fantastic stuff from Adam Ondra. Mike, there are so many things that go into making a great climber, and of course strength is part of it, but I think most people would agree that certainly on the men's side, Adam is, it's a simple word, he's the best climber. His movement is the best.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the full package there. Every element of that boulder was about as perfect as you could get. Not only is he really strong, of course, he had the right pair of shoes on, he had the right chalk, the chalk method with the shorts and everything. He had the perfect knee bar. That was it was almost as good as him topping the crack climbing men's number 4 in Meiringen in Switzerland, and this is just the first boulder.
If that had been the 4th boulder, it could have been up there. An unusually light-hearted and smiley Alexei Rubtsov makes his way out onto the Munich stage, and I have to say it's nice to see. He's now moved over to the left, the men on the black holds once again, as they are throughout the whole final, and he's got this kind of running start. No problem getting underway.
Yeah, so pop into the start position. You can't reach the start holds from the ground, so you do have to jump into the starting position. And a little catch out to the right, turning the right hand hold into a left hand undercut for the second move. This is the move that the route setters were just fiddling with this morning, at 10 o'clock this morning. Let's see if Alexei finds a different method. Opts for a really high foot. They didn't try that this morning.
Now he makes it work. Alexei Rubtsov gets his left heel in place, pops up to the zone. It's a pretty horrendous hold next, and then all he's got to do is pop out to the left. Got more than 3 minutes remaining. He doesn't need them. Alexei Rubtsov gets the job done on number 2.
Alexei is quite well known for his flexibility, and it really helped him a lot there. Pushed the left foot up high, made the little timing 1-2 move out to the right, pretty redundant. As soon as he latched down on those crimps, there was no letting go. All over pretty quickly, that boulder for Alexei.
I think that was second attempt for Alexei. Yeah, it was second attempt. He got the zone on his second attempt on the first boulder. Here goes Angie. Everybody already playing catch up to Adam Ondra after that amazing top of number 1. Slightly awkward start this on men's 1. You wouldn't expect anybody to really struggle with it, but it's just awkward enough. And that's what we saw from Alexei, that first move out right. You need to learn it slightly.
Yeah, if attempts become key in this round, then this is the sort of move that really kind of burns a few attempts. Alexei was really clever the way he found that high left foot. Actually needs a serious amount of shoulder strength just to get the left foot up there. As you can see, pressing into that sort of iron cross.
Now he's got it like Alexei Rubtsov on his second go. Just couldn't quite get the heel in place.
Yeah, there's a little screw on jib attached to that right hand fiberglass volume, just where the guy's brushing there at the moment. Just a tiny little screw on just to help squeeze the heel up, help with the catch. See, Angie actually got quite a lot of tape there on his left index finger. That doesn't bode too well, especially on those higher crimps. That is not a good position to be in. Once you've got tape over your fingers like that, it really, not only does it put you off your game, but it just makes the contact, the skin and the crimps really, really hard to hold on to small holds when you've got so much tape on. See if it makes a difference.
Yeah, now he's up to the zone. It's a tiny hold. You could see him grimacing as he held it. Has he got the heel in place? He has. Just the final hold to go. He wipes his hands before he launches. Here goes Angie, out left. There's the top. Angie Perhart joins Alexei Rubtsov in having topped that boulder. Both of them have done it so far. Jakob Schubert out next.
Hopefully we'll get a chance to have another look at that. Obviously the tape didn't make too much of a difference on those crimps in the end. The hip stability on that last move was really interesting. It looked like he was gunning for a big jump out to the side. He had the left heel in, and in the end he just sort of pulled on the hips. Couldn't see it there, unfortunately. But pulled in the hips, and feet didn't come off at all on the last move. He really is a master of movement, Ange, and that's why he's making so many of these finals.
It's Jakob Schubert, he enjoys the big occasion. He's been at the top of this sport for so long now, and he doesn't show any signs of dropping off. He'll be doing a lot of the lead season as well this year. So you're going to be seeing a lot of Jakob Schubert, and to be honest, you can expect to see him in quite a few finals, judging by his performances from last year and in the start of 2019. Now he heads out right, and that clearly a move that just takes a bit of figuring out.
Yeah, I think because there's a screw-on added to that right-hand volume, if you don't hit the screw-on correctly, it's quite difficult to hold the position. So it's sort of a little bit of percentages as well, just to jump out to that right-hand side and hit the right bit of the hold. You can see Jakob there actually really eyeballing where that little additional screw-on is. A lot of the times we've heard it before, but if you can't see it, you need to find something to line it up against. A little bit of dab of chalk or a logo or a screw hole or something. So Jakob would have found something that tells him where that little additional hold is.
Here he goes again. As you said, memorizing where he needs to go. It's proving very effective. He is incredibly strong, Jakob Schubert. I wouldn't expect him to drop it from here. Here he goes for the top, no problems at all. Actually just swings the left feet out, the feet out left, excuse me, to make it short. Job done for him, in he goes.
Jakob lacking no crimp strength there, didn't use any heel hooks on that method, as we've seen two previous guys. Toes down, front on, crimp the living daylights out of those things and just pull towards the top. Nicely done from Jakob. Boulder number 2 proving quite easy at the moment for these guys.
But interestingly, nobody has done it first go. And the FNUMC just cranking up the crowd. He shouts Jan and they shout Hoyer. And here's the man they've been looking forward to seeing. Managed to find the zone on Boulder 1.
Interesting position. He's actually climbing into the start position. He is allowed to do that. And Hoyer playing with the rules a little bit here. Because the starting position is unreachable from the ground, you are allowed to use holds that aren't part of the boulder to actually get into the start. Clever thinking from Jan Hoyer, taking the outsiders by surprise. Probably the judges as well. They'll all be looking at each other a little bit, asking if that's okay.
Not allowed to use any holds that aren't the starting holds, but as you say, you can use the wall.
Yeah, use the edge of the wall.
Yeah, clever from Jan Hoyer. Perhaps not really necessary, but if you don't like the look of the jump up, or if for whatever reason you just feel it might be easier, then you're perfectly entitled to do it. But now he does it the traditional way. And this time he gets it. Seems to be one of those moves where you get it second or third go, but very rarely first go. No problem up to the zone. He'll cross through with the right hand and goes almost straight for the top. It looked as if he didn't like the look of those crimps, Jan. He wanted to just get off them as quick as he could.
Yeah, I think he just rushed it up there. Maybe the occasion got to him a little bit. He looked quite happy up there. But I think he was almost thinking about the celebration before he scored the goal. See a massive amount of bandages on the knee there as well. So he obviously did cut up pretty bad on the first boulder.
So just over half his time remaining on this second boulder. Jan's already had 2 attempts. This will be his third one coming up. Crowd getting behind Jan, as you would expect, but he needs to give him something to go off here. So he's got that move sorted, no problem. Go up to the zone with the left, then cross through to the right. And then I think if he goes to the top, he needs to do it slightly more in control. Just like that. You might have been struggling with his skin a little bit after all there, Jan.
I think he felt that. He really had to dig in on those crimps. That was one of those ones, just close your thumb over your fingers and squeeze like you've never squeezed before. Brutal on the fingertips, and the amount of force that was going through his left foot, just smearing where he had his right hand now. On that top move was really, really good.
I think he enjoyed that one. Yeah, he just has a little look at the skin.
That hurt. So the heavier you are, the more force that goes through your fingertips on such holds. A lot of weight going through there with Jan Hoyer.
Jongwon Chon now the 2015 and 2017 overall World Cup champion. Jumps up into the starting position. So everybody's topped this boulder, but nobody's flashed it. What can Jongwon Chon do? Looked as if he was pretty accurate on the way out to the right.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you watch the left-hand position as they're jumping out to the right, every previous person, apart from Alexei, has ended up sort of wrist slapping the hold rather than trying to get it as a controlled left hand. They just slap it as hard as they can with their sort of left arm, left palm, and it just sort of like really whacks into the side, and then they adjust it into an undercut. It's sort of maximum percentage, just get the right good and then just cane into it with your left hand and hope it sticks. It's almost an undercut, that hold, so you really need to kind of just stop and then adjust and go on to the underside of it.
And it's a shame, almost a wasted attempt there from Jung Won Chon, just couldn't quite do the start.
I think he tried really hard there not to remove his right foot off of the hold, and see if that counts as an attempt or not. Because all 4 points, did they leave the ground, did they not? I don't know.
I think they did.
Oh, we're going to have to check the rules on that one.
They certainly did that time, but we'll let the judges do their thing. Here he goes, eyeing up that tiny screw-on, and closer that time. He's landing right on it, surprising a man with the immense contact strength of Jung Won Chon to be struggling there, actually. This boulder topped by all 4 climbers who've already been. Jakob Schubert and Alexei Rubtsov got its second go. Angie Perhak and Jan Hoyer got its third go. Jan, the only climber who's been to the zone and didn't then top on that attempt, he took another one and got back to the zone and topped it afterwards. Now Jung Won Chon finds a way. Slapped a couple of times with the left hand. Now he's onto comfortable terrain for him, these tiny little crimps, and he looks very solid on his feet. At some stage he'll have to commit his weight out to the left though. Here he goes, Jung Won Chon, left hand, right hand, no problem at all. Smooth as you like once he found his way through that initial jump.
Yeah, that bottom move actually really doing its job in terms of the round here, causing separation on the number of attempts it takes. They said, Charlie, it's quite surprising how he took a few goes to get through that bottom bit. Let's have another look at this first move. See, boom, yeah, left hand there just hits into the hold as hard as possible, and then you get it into the right position.
Very smooth across the top hold. Adam Ondra, really, I mean, already this final is in his hands. If he tops everything from here on out, he's going to win the competition. Big if though.
Adam Ondra always thinking possibly the smartest climber on the scene. Different pair of shoes. He's brought out the shoes from the first boulder. He's brought them out as spares. Got the more stiffer downturn shoes on for these smaller edges on this boulder. So he's obviously always thinking about different tactics.
Again, slightly different method of achieving the starting position. He flashed the first boulder. He might flash a second. He's done the tricky move out right. Needs to lever up to the zone here. Most people we saw getting to this stage then found a top. Can he get the feet in play? Yes, he can. Got both crimps, just needs to launch for the top now, Adam Ondra. This for 2 flashes on 2 boulders. There it is. Adam Ondra takes control of this men's final. 2 boulders in, he's flashed them both, and nobody else could even top them both.
To be able to get through that boulder with timing moves, hard crimps, and a bit of a spicy finish, Adam Ondra done himself a really big favour there. He's already hit the mat, he just checked his skin. He's not lost too many because he has managed to flash the boulder. Boulder number 2 has done a perfect job. He actually hit that right hand a bit low. He was pretty lucky to hold that position at all.
That was him going for the top. By the time the feet cut loose, it didn't really matter. So Adam Ondra, 2 boulders, 2 flashes. Doesn't get much better than that. And there you can see it, Jakob Schubert just behind him in second place with Alexei Rubtsov in third if the competition were to end now. That would be the podium, Angie Perhak, Jan Hoyer and Jung Won Chon. the remainder of the top 6, but it's Adam Ondra really taking control. 2 tops, both of them flashes, and nobody else has got 2 tops, regardless of attempts. Next thing, the next destination for the climbers is the far left of the wall. It's a real change in style. They're going to be on a slab, followed by a really tricky jump at the far end of the slab. And there is the scene backstage, the wonderful Olympic Stadium laid out behind them. And it's Alexei Rubtsov getting ready to go.
Always so interesting to see the isolation zone, just how basic it is as well, what these guys have got to put up with. Just a couple of plastic chairs, a water cooler, and a 4-minute timer screen. It's amazing what these guys can what they can do in such situations.
Yeah, you and I ate our lunch there, and it was fine for eating lunch. Not really ideal for athletic preparation.
No, there's no climbing facilities back there at all.
No.
So in between boulders, there's nothing you can do apart from, if you want to warm up your crimps, you crimp the edge of your chair, you pull on some scaffold bars. That's as good as you've got.
You can see Alexei there. I've never seen Alexei Rubtsov smile so much in a final. This is great to see. We'll see next time whether he's developed a taste for smiling in finals or whether the game face will be pulled back on. All the photographers now making their way over to our end of the wall. I thought for a second there it was Alexei Rubtsov dancing. That really would have been him getting carried away.
Yeah, he's trying to copy Jongwon Chon's moves.
Just being made to wait. There's a short break in between the second and third boulders. And Alexei, you probably don't want to wait there with the eyes of the crowd burning into you. I suppose it could be worse if the stadium behind you was full. And as you say, Mike, who knows, maybe we'll be down there in a few years' time. Be on the other side of the barrier in the Olympic Stadium. Still Alexei waits. You can see there, the crowd can see him, he can see them. And he just has to wait. Not an easy situation for him. Mike Adam Ondra really looking in control of this final. He was the only person with 4 tops in the semis, and he's really carried that form into the final.
Yeah, just to be able to flash the first 2 boulders just shows it is a marginal step above the opposition at this stage. Adam Ondra also already won Boulder World Cup this season in Switzerland at the opening round. He does look in fine form, like you say, Charlie, and yeah, still 2 boulders to go though. Only 2 tops to his name at the moment. Let's see how we get on the first look at men's number 3. This really technical, slow slab followed by a big move at the top. There's a small little jib you can just see under his hand there, but it's worthless really. It's there more as a guide than anything else. See the zone really far down, low and left. Classic bit of sort of extreme walking here across the bottom of the wall. And slabby section on the lower half, but then these overhanging panels really just push the body out. Everything is just pushing you away from the wall when you really got to be close to it.
I don't know where our clock has gone, but I'll keep you updated. He's got 2 minutes 55 remaining. There it is. And he's also secured the zone, Alexei. That is the last holds until the top, and as the camera hopefully zooms out, there we can see the top creeping into view, and you get some idea of just how far it is to jump.